So if you've looked into purchasing a Keurig brewer, you probably have noticed that the coffee is much more expensive. Now to illustrate this, I have two of the identical coffees in bean form and K-cup form. This Maxwell House coffee here, I'm not comparing it to the Starbucks coffee, it's to help us as an aid in a little while. So this is a 1 pound bag of coffee. Now I'm just using this as a visual aid because I'm comparing a 12-ounce bag of coffee here. But if you go online to Walmart's website, and I'm using Walmart because many people across the country have access to a Walmart and can shop there or do shop there, so that's the reason why I'm using their prices. A 12-ounce bag of this Starbucks coffee is about $8. Now this box of 16 K-cups is $12. So you're already paying $4 more to get 16 K-cups. This wouldn't be a big deal if a 12-ounce bag only made 16 cups of coffee. However, we know that's not the case. That's why I have the can of Maxwell House here. You'll notice this says makes up to 96 fluid ounce cups, and this is an 11.5 ounce jar. So, apologize for the lightning, or the thunder. It's kind of a stormy night out right now. So what this means is, and this could be making really weak coffee, so I'm going to bias this downward a little bit. We're going to say that it makes 68 fluid ounce cups. So this is 12 ounces, remember? So you get 12 ounces, or roughly 12 ounces. So you get 12 ounces of Starbucks coffee. You could probably make 68 ounce cups, whereas this only makes 16. So therefore, the Keurig things are much more expensive, the Keurig K cups. I was actually at Walmart today and took these videos to give you an example of the difference in price with Maxwell House coffee. As you can see, this box of 12 Maxwell House K-cups is $7.28, while this giant tub of Maxwell House coffee is also $7.28. According to its label, it makes up to 246 ounce cups. Last time I checked, 240 is 20 times as much as 12, so that would mean that you are getting 1/20th the coffee when you buy the K-cups as you would if you had bought the coffee. Granted, again, that's probably some pretty weak coffee, but you know, it's still something that's worth mentioning. Now, depending on what you feel, that may or may not be a bad thing. These K-cups are still less than $1 each, and that's cheaper than getting McDonald's coffee, which in my opinion is not very good. And it's certainly a lot less expensive than going to Starbucks and buying your coffee there. Now, one reason why I have the coffee maker in frame here is because this illustrates the most depressing thing about the Keurig system. This box of K-cups, $12 at Walmart. This coffee maker, $8.96 at Walmart, so 9. You're spending $3 more to get 16 cups of coffee, or you could buy a machine that will make coffee. But anyway, if you're looking at your K-cup system, pretty much you're going to want to use the K-cups that you can get. Now, one last thing that I do need to point out is there is a way to use whatever coffee you'd like in your Keurig brewer. It's called the My K-cup, and you can put your own coffee grounds in it and then make some coffee using your Keurig system. However, I don't think that the savings you get by using your own coffee are worth the inconvenience of using the My K-cup. And to illustrate that, I'm going to show you how you use that. Okay, so now to talk about what you would need to do to make your own coffee in the Keurig system, as in from beans or grounds. This is called the My K-cup. It's a thing that you would put your own coffee inside of, and then you put it in the Keurig machine. Now you may notice that it is not the size of a K-cup, it's considerably larger. And this is part of what makes the system inconvenient. But regardless, how you would use this is on the inside there's a little filter basket, and you put coffee in up to around halfway or a little higher depending on how strong you want it to be. And then you put it in here and close the top. It screws on. But it won't fit in here on its own because it's too big. You have to remove the K-cup holder itself by squeezing and pulling out, and then putting this in. Now this is actually, it can be a problem because what has happened in multiple times is if someone takes this out but doesn't put this back in, then someone might put a K-cup in and make a cup of coffee and it won't work because the needle, which is in the top here, will pierce the top, but this is what pierces the bottom of your K-cup, so you won't get any coffee. In fact, it'll just spill water everywhere. So that can be a big problem if you if someone tries to make a K-Cup without this in here, and it has happened a few times. It's also just inconvenient because this adds an extra step. However, the biggest inconvenience in my opinion is the fact that this thing I believe cost $20. Again, that coffee maker was $9. If you're going to buy one of these for your K-Cup machine, I would say don't even bother, because you could buy a coffee maker for less than half the price. Now, of course, these do go on sale every once in a while, and if you like the way these look better than the coffee maker, and you just want to keep one coffee machine on your counter, well then I guess it makes sense. But here's the biggest issue: dealing with these to get the coffee out. So I will show you what you do when these are used and how you have to clean them and prepare them for using them again. Alright, here we are on a paper towel again, and I'm going to show you what you do to get these ready to go. So first thing you do is you take the top off. Now this has already been used, and you'll see now the filter basket is full of coffee. So you kind of got to just put it down and do the same thing we did when we tried to recycle them. Just kind of whack them, and then most of the coffee will come out. However, you've still got quite a lot in there. Excuse the cuckoo clock. You still got quite a lot in here. You can kind of flick it with the back of your finger. You can get some more out. You do this a bunch of times, some more comes out, but you still have a lot in there. Then basically you just have to rinse the rest out. And even then I don't have all the coffee out of it, and this is going to have to dry before you can use it again. That's not necessarily true. You could use it wet, but you might get some sticky grounds. Then you've got the coffee grounds that are in the top of this. You got to rinse this out too. And now that's clean. The bottom you generally don't have to do anything with. You could rinse it out if you want to, but I don't. But that's how you use your own coffee using a Keurig machine. First of all, you have to buy the My K-Cup thing, and at the price they are, you might as well just buy a coffee maker. But again, regardless of what your intentions are, I won't talk about that. But you have to buy the My Cup thing, and then every time you use it, you have to get all the coffee out, and then you have to rinse it dry and get it ready to go. We actually have two of them. We got them on sale at Carson's, I believe, and so we have a little bit of an advantage because we can have one drying while the other's ready to go. But they're still quite the pain, and I don't necessarily like them. Now, there is one advantage to them, however, and that is since the Keurig system uses pressure to force water through the coffee, you can actually use a bit less coffee per cup when you use the My K-Cup system. This could be important to you, and in fact it is an advantage, that is that you will go through coffee less frequently than a drip system if you decide to use it on your own. However, I think this is a totally inconvenient way to deal with it, and just something that I would say if you want to use your own coffee beans or grounds or whatever, then you might as well just, get another coffee maker. I realized that I didn't touch on this point while I was recording the video, so I'm doing this after the fact. I want to talk a little bit about the selection between the K-Cup system and just standard coffee. The K-Cup system does have the advantage that you can also find K-Cups that make tea and hot chocolate, and even things like iced tea and iced coffee if they're brewed over ice. Whereas the standard drip coffee maker, you pretty much can only make coffee, and it pretty much can only be ground coffee. Now, of course, you can buy beans and grind it yourself, but you're limited to the coffee that you can find either as grounds or beans. Now, the thing is, there's a great variety of grounds and beans that you can get for a standard coffee maker. So basically what I want to say here is the K-Cup has a lot of variety in things like flavored coffees, like they had a holiday collection where it was things like gingerbread and French toast stuff. And it's also got a lot of selection from the fact that you've got things like teas and hot chocolate, cafe mocha type things. You've got lots of different various little things that you can get in the K-Cup system that you couldn't possibly make just with a regular coffee maker. So I think that the selection between the two systems is pretty much equal, because what the coffee maker lacks in its selection or variety, it makes up for the fact that you can use any coffee you want whereas the Keurig system does give you those kind of interesting little things, but it's a lot harder to use your own. Say you found fair trade coffee you really like, or an organic coffee, it's going to be harder to use that in the Keurig system, where you would just use it in a regular coffee maker like you would any other coffee. So in terms of selection, I wouldn't say that either system really beats the other one out. I would say that for convenience, the Keurig system wins because you can have all those flavors and just pop a new K-Cup in and then boom, you've got yourself a different flavored coffee, whereas suppose you might need to actually flavor the coffee with your drip system. But again, you really aren't limited in either system, because you could make those types of drinks using a coffee maker, or you could use whole bean or ground coffee using the Keurig brewer. So really, I don't think that it's fair to compare them with selection, because they both have quite a selection of things they could make. So that about wraps it up for this series of videos. I hope you enjoyed them. I tried to keep personal opinion out of this as much as I could, because I understand that personal opinion leads to conflict, and conflict leads to nasty comments, and I don't like dealing with nasty comments. I actually had to do that earlier today, in fact, and it is never fun. Regardless, I tried to present you basically with facts between the systems. That's why I wanted to do the comparison with energy consumption and also how quickly they can make coffee. But anyway, if you would like more information about my personal opinions, or if you have some questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. Overall, I think that the Keurig K-Cup system is an excellent idea, and if you want to have a cup of coffee at a weird time, it's great, because you just turn the machine on, stick the K-Cup in, your coffee's ready shortly. However, if you're a habitual coffee drinker, or someone who's in a family where there's a lot of coffee drinkers, it may not make the most sense. So I would recommend, if you do get a K-Cup machine, don't get rid of your old coffee maker, because there are times where you'll need it. Especially if you're entertaining. Say you've got like 9 guests over and people want coffee. Well, that's a lot of K-Cups to go through all of a sudden, so just make yourself a pot of coffee. It'll work better for you. Anyway, I'm Alec, also known as Edison Phone 1, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, please feel free to ask any questions, leave any comments. I try to get back to them as soon as I possibly can. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.